It's time for Tiger Talk, presented by Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Old Chicago, amazing craft beers and food, north of I-70 in Hayes. Old Chicago, share, reconnect, celebrate. Tiger Talk is also brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, providing the best in-home loans to the Tiger community since 1920. The Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, part of the University of Kansas Health System, and the official physicians for Fort Hays State University Athletics. The certified public accountants of Adams, Brown, Barron, and Ball. Your trusted advisors, providing you with commitment, experience, and integrity. BTI, your John Deere dealer, with locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, Valley Hope of Norton. Get help and find hope. The Taco Shop. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. You've never had it so good. Horizon Appliance and Mattress. TVs, appliances, Traeger grills, and Tempur-Pedic bedding. Open 7 days a week at 1501 East 27th in Hayes. And Eagle Communications. Internet, TV, phone. Eagle Communications. Our community connected.
And a good Monday. Welcome into Tiger Talk. Gerard Welbrock with you as we talk a little Fort Hays State football. Should be a fun show today. Head coach Chris Brown is not with us. He had another engagement, as they say. At least that's what he told us. Maybe tired of us already, but instead we're going to have the offensive and defensive coordinators from Fort Hays State, Jeff Bryant and Cooper Harris, join us for the program. Maybe get a little bit different perspective on the Tigers' start to the season. Appreciate them subbing for Coach Brown as we continue to roll along here on Tiger Talk, which is recorded Mondays over the noon hour at Old Chicago, the place to watch your favorite football games this fall. And while you're in at Old Chicago, join the OC Rewards program. It's free, and all new members receive a free appetizer for up to $10 after their first transaction. All at Old Chicago, your pizza and craft beer authority, just north of the interstate in Hayes, your new home for Tiger Talk. Again, we recorded over the noon hour on Monday, and of course the playback on Tiger Radio Mix 103. Getting underway here this evening. So we certainly invite you to come on out and join us on Mondays for Tiger Talk. Of course, a rough one on Thursday for the Tigers as they suffer their first loss of the season, 23-13 at Missouri Western. Kind of a frustrating game for Fort Hays State. Just had to come from behind, it felt like, all night long, and had some special teams breakdown down the end, and the Tigers end up losing that one. They'll be back at home. Some Saturday football for the first time all year. This Saturday night, the Tigers at home taking on Washburn. Key game for Fort Hays State as they battle the Ichabods in a 7 o'clock kick. Our coverage begins at 6 here on the Tiger Sports Network with the Auto World pregame show. Offensive coordinator and offensive line coach Jeff Bryant joins us now, and it was kind of a frustrating night on Thursday, and it just feels like it's kind of been a pattern. You guys have been having to play from behind and uphill all night long, and hung in there, and then it kind of fell apart there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a combination of a bunch of things. I don't think, obviously we're all disappointed with the way we played. We got down to the red zone 3 times and came away with 3 turnovers. It's kind of been something that hasn't been a mark of our past. I mean, we usually try to do a good job taking care of the football, and it didn't happen. So we're just going to have to regroup and, look forward to the new challenge this week against Washburn.
No doubt about that. And you have become accustomed. Fort Hays State's been one of the tops in just red zone efficiency, whether it's scoring points, but certainly getting it into the end zone. And don't know if it just feels like Jacobs may be pressing a little bit when the ball gets in close, and just things aren't quite going his way.
I think from the outside looking in, it's easy to pinpoint Jake as being the problem, and it's not really been the case. We had on two of the interceptions, we had missed assignments from skill positions that led to defenders being closer to the ball than what they should have been. And the third one was my fault. I mean, we literally, was trying to do something to make a play, and we kind of put them in position. Obviously, we always talk about game situations, and if you don't like it, get rid of the ball type stuff. And we could have done a better job with that. But it's not just Jake's fault. I mean, from a protection standpoint, to our receivers, to our tight ends, to our running backs. I mean, collectively, we got to do a better job.
And that's, I guess, the great thing about being a quarterback and the bad thing about being a quarterback. When it's going well, I mean, you're the greatest, you're playing the greatest. When it doesn't go well, probably too much of the blame is put on that one position because you said it's 11 guys out there working as one.
No doubt. I mean, in going into the game, we had some injuries on the offensive line. And I think there was some uncertainty, not from him, but just from everybody involved, just how well they were going to play. And with the quarterback position, I think that's why everybody grows up wanting to be Joe Montana and Tom Brady because you get all the attention when it goes good, but there's also the other flip of the coin, and you tend to get more blame than probably what actually is.
I know you guys took a little bit of time off and maybe came at a good time, and still a lot of football to be played, obviously. But how'd the team respond? You get them in, and obviously this is a key week here for you guys getting set for Washburn. And what I would deem a probably pivotal game with 1-1 mark and go a lot of ways yet, but getting a win against a good Washburn team would be a good start.
No doubt. We had the weekend to kind of re-examine some things. Offensively, we had a chance to kind of, process whether or not we're playing the best players, whether we're doing the right things, what's our identity. And no doubt Washburn is a really good football team. Last year, they were one of the teams that were beating us at half. They returned a lot of guys on defense. They have a bunch of familiar names. And then traditionally they're a team that isn't going to make a bunch of mistakes, that you're going to have to earn everything that they give you. So we got a great challenge ahead of us that and it starts today with practice.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more specific about the offense with assistant coach and offense coordinator Jeff Bryant, and maybe a little bit of examination of that offensive line. He mentioned they've been battling some injuries right now, and he's working with them every day, so we'll get a little inside perspective from Coach Bryant. Tiger Talk brought to you by Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, home of the World Beer Tour. 110 beers from around the world. You can ask for details the next time you're here at Old Chicago and begin your World Beer Tour. Old Chicago, they're your pizza and craft beer authority. We'll take a break. More with Coach Bryant as we continue on Tiger Talk here on the Tiger Sports Network.
I'm Patty Stoll, broker-owner of Coldwell Banker Executive Realty. We want your dreams to become a reality. Coldwell Banker Executive Realty prides itself in putting you first.
Tigers out now to the 38-yard line, trailing 7-0. Play action. Mazzara rolls left, goes downfield. He's got Wendelberger, makes the catch at the 40, carries a defender all the way down to the Griffin 29-yard line. It'll be a 1st and 10 after the 33-yard catch from number 33, Matt Wendelberger. Yeah, some of the action from last Thursday. The Tigers in St. Joe against Missouri Western. Unfortunately, Tigers come up a little bit short. That was a nice play from Matt. He had a big game, and Harley Hazlett, a receiver, I think both set career records for, at least career highs for receptions in a game. And I think for Harley may have been a career high in yardage, but those two really had big games for that receiving corps for you guys.
Yeah, they did some nice things. Still, collectively, we're still a little bit inconsistent. Matt and Harley both came up with big grabs throughout the game. But, I mean, just like anything else, no matter what your individual stat is, if the scoreboard is, not what it is, then sometimes they kind of get swept under the rug. I'm happy for them. There's still a lot of improvement in their game, and hoping, we kind of build on what they did individually last week.
No, let's talk about the offensive line a little bit. You're the offensive line coach. 6th year at Fort Hays State, your second stint with the Tigers, and you touched on it in the first segment, dealing with a couple of injuries, a couple of starters going down in that first game. You've had a couple of new guys filling in for them, some young guys. I guess we'll start there. How did they grade out in their first really significant playing time this year.
Oh, no doubt. Toby Godwin got his first start of his career. Cade Gober played left tackle, got his first career start, and they played good enough to win the game. Going into this game against Missouri Western, you take Romello Burke out of the center position. The other 4 guys had 4 combined starts. And that's not very many when you're talking about 5 positions. That was kind of the question mark going into the game. They played all right. There's still a bunch of things that they got to get better at. And hoping, we got out of the game relatively healthy. So, we're going to be looking to build upon that today.
It felt like Jacob had time to throw the ball. It wasn't like he was under duress. Once he got back and his drop and ready to go, he had time to look. And I guess for the just the naked eye observing from the stands, that's kind of the first sign. But it appeared that he had time to throw, and they did a pretty good job in that pass protection.
No, they did a good job. I think as the game started to tilt in the other direction, they started to get more downhill, and our protection started to get less solid. But they fought hard, they played well, and really Romello Burke and Amari Ingram really played at a physicality level that was nice to see.
Romello's played some center in his freshman year, but you moved him from guard to center. And obviously there's a lot more involved there because you're snapping the football, but I think some people, whether you're tackle, guard, whatever, they're interchangeable, but it's really not the case, and that has to be a significant switch going from guard to the center position for Romello.
No, it's huge. Romello battled some injuries last year and played center as a freshman, and really this year we really didn't want to play him at the center position. We wanted him to be the best guard that he can be and be a suitable contingency plan in case something happened to Nathan Hale and a couple other guys, and then that happened. So we had to kind of put him in that position because he's the most seasoned guy that we have on our team, and he did a really good job, and I was proud of him.
Any status update on Pat and Nathan? I know hoping to get them back sometime, and any update is still too early to tell?
It's too early to tell. I know Pat's going to be out for a significant amount of time, and Nate will be back. Nate will be back before it's all said and done. But Pat will be out for a significant amount of time.
How does that affect when you have to interchange parts like that and you have some new guys in? How much does it affect you as a play caller, what you want to do? I mean, obviously, when you don't have your starting 5 out there, does it change your game plan at all, or do you still go about it the same way you would regardless who's out there?
No, it definitely changes. I mean, you can tell by the stat sheet, and as many times as we threw the ball on Thursday that I didn't feel confident about our ability to do a bunch of things running the ball, and that's one of my biggest regrets from Thursdays. We should have ran the ball more and gave Jake a little bit more breathing room and not so much burden on him to be able to throw the ball around. Anytime you mess around with redshirt freshmen playing on the offensive line, you're going to have some mistakes, and you're going to have some issues that you're going to have to battle throughout the game that they got to be able to mentally follow along and make the adjustments. So it definitely affects what you're able to do offensively.
You call the plays. How much input does Coach Brown have in that, or is that pretty much a feel for you when you're out there? And how much, like early in the game, do you script a certain amount of plays, see what the defense is doing, and then adjust the game plan as you go from there? Yeah,
we usually script the first 10 plays of the game just to kind of see what they're going to do specifically to personnel, what they're going to do to formations, what they're going to do to certain adjustments that we do week in, week out. And then after that, it goes to, what they're doing and making our adjustments from there. But as far as Coach Brown lets me do my job. He obviously gives his from his perspective and his advice, this, that, and the other. But on game day, he lets me do my job.
You got a tough decision to make on 4th down. Is he the one saying go, or is it just
No, he's definitely the one saying go. And it's
if we don't make it, it's on you, Coach. When you look at this offense right now, obviously you said a lot of improvement in every position. But what are the areas you feel you're going to have to really this week we got to clamp down on, get better at if we're going to have a chance to beat Washburn?
It's just the attention to detail. From guys just making plays. They were in a position last Thursday they're in one-on-one coverage situations, or you're having to make somebody miss. And I don't ever try to compare this year to last year, but last year those things happened. We won the one-on-one and we made somebody miss. And then, so that's what we're trying to do. There's got to be a heightened awareness to doing your job, and that's it. And if we do those things, we're going to take the steps necessary to put ourselves in position to beat Washburn.
Coach Brown, after the game, talked about physicality, and I think a lot of people equate that with defense. But it really equates to both sides of the ball and how you go about it on the offensive side, too, doesn't it?
No, there's no doubt. Like, there's a physicality to the way offensive linemen block. There's a physicality to the way receivers block downfield. There's a physicality to the way they run routes. There's a physicality to a way a running back gets downhill. Is he trying to create contact and fall forward, or is he trying to, make people miss? And we need to be more physical as an offense. I think some of it is kind of hesitation and uncertainty, and we need to take the gray out of it and just get downhill.
All right, Coach, hey, we're going to let you go. We appreciate you filling in. Some good perspective as the offensive line coach and the offensive coordinator at Fort Hays State. We know you guys are going to have a great week of practice. You'll be ready to go against those Ichabods on Saturday. And always a fun game with Washburn. You've had some great ones with them. You've done well at home, not so much in Topeka. Good thing it's a home game, but obviously a big one coming up.
No doubt.
All right, Coach, we appreciate it, and good luck on Saturday night. That's assistant coach, offensive line coach, and offensive coordinator Jeff Bryant with us here on Tiger Talk. The program recorded live at Old Chicago on Mondays during the noon hour. So make your plans to join us next week for the program and for lunch right here at Old Chicago. They've got great pizzas with dough made fresh daily. Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room north of the interstate in Hayes. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get a defensive perspective. Defensive coordinator Cooper Harris will join us as we continue here on Tiger Talk along the Tiger Sports Network.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here.
It's Hayes' greatest hits.
Love it.
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM. Do you believe in love story?
Well, 94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
Becerra to throw, rolls right to the end zone. Wendelberger stretches up, makes the catch, touchdown. Fort Hays State, a 20-yard touchdown pass from Becerra to tight end Matt Wendelberger. That was some of the action on Thursday in St. Joe's. The Tigers come up short to Missouri Western, but a nice touchdown catch there by tight end Matt Wendelberger. Had a big game. He set a new career high for receptions in a contest in that game, but unfortunately the Tigers come up a little bit short. We are at Old Chicago for Tiger Talk here on a Monday. As we mentioned, Coach Brown away today at a previous speaking engagement, so good to catch up with Jeff Bryant, offensive line and offensive coordinator. Now we're going to bring in Cooper Harris, the Tiger inside linebackers coach and defensive coordinator, his 7th year with Fort Hays State. Coach, we appreciate you filling in for Coach Brown. Big shoes to fill. Coach Bryant did a good job. And,
that's right.
And obviously it's been, I say frustrating. The team's 1-1, still a lot of football to go, but felt that Missouri Western played well, but had a good chance to win that game and just couldn't quite get off the field when you needed to or make a big play. Just a lot of little mistakes added up in a tough night last Thursday.
Yeah, definitely defensively. I thought there was improvement from week 1 to week 2. There's still too many mistakes on the defensive side of the ball to, win a game in the MIAA. And, Missouri Western's a very good football team. And, it came down to, a couple plays like every football game does. And, defensively, we had a bust and a misassignment. And, those led to points.
They really only had one long drive. Their first one came in a 19-yard after the long punt return, but I know you don't want to give up anything. But yet really the one long drive, and you can see the improvement out there with your team from week 1 to week 2. The numbers kind of bear that out, but a challenge in a quarterback who is really mobile, who almost is a run first, pass second guy. That's a little bit different than what you're normally used to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're going to face those styles of quarterbacks in our conference, but he's definitely one of the better ones, and that's something defensively, you know, we worked and preached on all week. And, there's situations where we have to keep him contained in the pocket and not let him have the ability to run. When they are using him in the run game, you have to be assignment sound. And, if someone busts, whether it's a zone read, power read, whatever it might be, that's going to end up producing, big yardage.
Obviously, you look at the defense, and same on the offensive side. It starts up front, and there's a big big void there from the last couple of years, and Nathan Shepard, and obviously, what a great story for him. But it feels like you guys held your own up there. I mean, you've got some younger faces who played a little bit, and now they're in starting roles and getting more minutes. Malik Young is obviously getting up to speed, but it seems like you're able to hold your own up in the front four.
Yeah, we're getting better there, and obviously you're going to lose great players every year, and the next guy up has to step up. And with Malik, being a new player, I thought he played very well for his second game, and overall, I thought the D-line did a good job as far as the run game goes.
Linebacker is always key, and you're the inside linebackers coach, but it just seems like that has been a solid position for a really long time. And I want to ask about Jose Delgado. I mean, you look at him, and I remember MIAA Media Day and some of the other media asking, who is that? I go, that's Delgado, and they were just amazed. He's not very big, but you're just certain players who have a nose for the football and get the job done. And whatever he lacks in maybe size compared to what is a prototypical inside linebacker, he makes up with everything else. It's just fun to watch.
Yeah, he is fun to watch, and I've been real blessed with the type of players we've had at that inside linebacker position. And obviously Jose, is an outstanding player. And, you saw that when we were recruiting him out of high school. And there's just certain players that have the instincts for the game. And, he's definitely one of them. And he brings a lot of leadership to the defensive side of the ball.
And the back end, I mean, you got a couple of veteran bandit backs and Doyen and Tanner Hookman, and then the corners, little veteran. You got a redshirt freshman going out there, and Keelan Kennedy. And, boy, it's fun to watch him. I know Coach Brown has always said, I mean, if every kid practiced and played and went about it like he does, you've got a pretty good defensive or offensive unit. You can see it when he's out there. I mean, he gives 110% every time out there.
He's done great for, being his freshman year on the field, and he is a big competitor, and you'd like to see that from every position, and but that's what you need to do. If you're a new player and trying to be successful, the best way to do it is compete. And as a coach, that's the first thing we look at, right? Is the kid going to go out there on the football field and compete? And he's just going to continue to get better and better. And
some of the backups are new faces in newer roles, but they're getting out there. Obviously, some special teams, but getting into regular situations. You're happy with how those guys have come along this season?
I mean, the young guys have really done a good job of stepping up, and hopefully, as the year progresses, they'll get more and more reps, and that's how we try and develop our players. And it just depends on the situations, and there's certain packages we're able to get those guys in. But as far as the game goes, as the year goes on, they'll continue to get their reps and get better and better.
We are at Old Chicago, just north of the interstate in Hayes. You can stop by for lunch anytime. Old Chicago, burgers, sandwiches, salads, distinctive taproom fare, all at Old Chicago Pizza and Taproom. Serious craft brews, serious good food. We're going to take a break. We'll talk more with defensive coordinator Cooper Harris, subbing with us tonight for head coach Chris Brown, who had to be away. And we'll do that right after the break here on Tiger Talk along the Tigers Sports Network.
As you plan for your business in 2018, advertising should be an important part of your growth strategy. Digital marketing puts your business in front of the right customers online. Advertising with the Hayes Post ensures your message will be viewed 1.5 million times a month, including 375,000 unique views a week. Are you ready to grow your business? Advertise with us today. It's affordable and it works. Call us today at 785-628-0467. Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Snap is down. There's the hold. There's the kick from Brown. He's got plenty of leg. Is it through the uprights? It is good. A 49-yard field goal from Dante Brown, a new career high, and he's tied this game up at 10.
And that was one of the highlights for Dante. 49-yard field goal. Got the game tied, but unfortunately the Tigers come up short on Thursday night as they lose to Missouri Western. Now focusing on the Washburn Ichabods, who come to town for some Saturday night football. Should be a lot of fun at Lewis Field. Certainly hope to see you out there. Looks like the weather's going to be great, and should be a fun one between the Tigers and the Ichabods. We're joined by Cooper Harris, the Tigers defensive coordinator. Coach Chris Brown, as they say, a previous engagement, and couldn't make it for the program today, but we're certainly glad to have Jeff Bryant fill in the first part of the show, and now we're visiting with defensive coordinator Cooper Harris. And I asked Jeff about this. Coach, after the game, really brought up the physicality aspect, and you look at Fort Hays State football the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I mean, you can make the argument they're the most physical team on the field regardless of who they played, and maybe feeling that's not been the case. And as Coach said, it's not just on defense. I mean, that goes to all sides. But how do you feel about it on the defensive side? Because that's been one area. I mean, you can see since you've been here that has obviously gone in the way you'd like it.
No, that's something, I would agree with. I mean, being physical and playing fast is something defensively we've really, hung our hat on and really preach. And, I don't think the first 2 games, I've seen us play as physical as we've been in the past. So that, that's an area we're going to have to continue to improve on.
Yeah, hopefully it's something that comes back. And I know tackling, I thought it was better at times Thursday, but with the way college football is, well, any football anymore, that's the one thing that's kind of gone by the wayside. No one does it in practice anymore. Yeah. It's got to be challenging for a player to turn that switch on once the game gets there.
It has to be very challenging, and it's frustrating as a defensive coordinator, when you're in fall camp, knowing that really the first time you're going to see any live tackling is that first game, and how your players are going to respond to it, because as fast as you can play in practice, I mean, you cannot mimic the game speed and the live tackling. So again, that's just something we have to accept, and we got to continue to work on and continue to get better at.
You look at this defense, and I know there's some new faces intertwined in there, but it seems like group's got a chance to be maybe in some ways more athletic than a year ago, maybe even a little bit faster team speed. I mean, it seems like as the season goes along, this is a chance to be a really solid group.
Yeah, you would hope so. Again, we got great athletes in all positions, so hopefully, as the season progresses, we just continue to get better, and you start to see those sort of things.
All right, Washburn coming up on Saturday night. You spent time with the Ichabods. Coach Brown spent time. Is this an extra special game, or is that kind of it's been enough time now? They're like everybody else.
Yeah, I think so. I think enough time's passed. I mean, it's always fun when you're coaching against other coaches that you're familiar with or friends with. So, but as far as the rivalry goes, I think we're kind of past that part of it. But it's always fun to play them. I know Coach Sherrod will have those guys coached up well.
Well, they always play well, and as Coach Bryan mentioned, they don't make a lot of mistakes. And he was talking about how there's a lot of faces back on the defensive side of the ball. You look at their offense, which you're focusing on, there's a lot of names and faces back. That's a scary unit. They've looked pretty good so far.
They look very good. They're a typical Washburn team. I mean, they can line up and, power the football down your throat. But, yeah, they're athletic enough. They can spread the field and get out on the edges. And the quarterback does a good job running that offense. He throws the ball well. And, he's mobile enough that if he gets in trouble, he can make positive yards.
You don't want to put too much on a game. It's the third game of the year. But when you look at what happened Thursday, teams 1-1. You got some big ones coming up, and this is a pivotal game, and you can go probably one of two ways, and a lot of how you play, not just whether you win or lose, but how you play Saturday night could have a long way in determining all of that.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, it's the most important game because it's the next one, right? And you've heard that before, and I think that's how you have to approach it. And we're playing a very good football team, and we'll play a very good football team every week. And for us to keep moving forward in the conference, it is a pivotal game, and hopefully we'll come out and play well.
Well, the Tigers and the Ichabods in a 7 o'clock kick at Lewis Field on Saturday night at the stadium. Certainly hope to see you out. We need to take one more break, one more segment. I'd like you to hang on a little bit, talk a little Canadian football when we come back. Cooper certainly spent some time and knows a little bit about that. Tiger Talk recorded at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room over the noon hour on Mondays. Your Craft Beer Authority, they have 30 rotating draft beers. So stop by today north of the interstate at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. We're going to take our final break and be back with our final segment on Tiger Talk right after this here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wurtenberger Construction.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at hayespost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, Real Country. 99 KZ Country.
Second down and 6. Tigers from the Griffin 49, trailing by a touchdown here in the fourth. Mazzara to throw. He's got a man wide open. It's DJ Hickman up the sideline now. Angles in the middle of the field. 20 to the 15 to the 10. He's down to the 8-yard line. First and goal, Fort Hays State.
Yeah, nice play there from DJ, one of the newcomers on the offensive side of the ball. Unfortunately, Tigers couldn't get into the end zone, had to settle for 3 on that drive, but big play for him and Fort Hays State. Again, we are at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. It's Tiger Talk here on a Monday, and we certainly have appreciated Jeff Bryant, the offensive coordinator, for filling in, and Cooper Harris for head coach Chris Brown. He'll be back. At least we think he'll be back with us. He said he had a prior engagement. We're hoping it was just that, and tired of us already here on the program. But we'll get back with Chris next Monday for the program. We certainly hope you can join us here over the noon hour at Old Chicago. You're a Canadian, played at Pittsburgh State. I always give Coach Brown a hard time. I was doing color when Fort Hays, this would have been the mid-'90s, and it was, Pitt State blew out Fort Hays, and I think you and Chris were the only names I heard on defense at Kearney Smith Stadium. But you had a long career in Canada in the Canadian Football League. Your dad, obviously, is a legend in Canadian football. And Shaq Cooper making a presence up there with Edmonton. And I know a lot of folks saw his debut, and it was remarkable. He's played in a couple of games now. Got to be cool to see one of your guys playing up in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, it really is. I'm excited for him, and obviously playing up there and the connection I have to that league, I keep track of it and follow it, and I had the opportunity. I was actually up in Canada this summer during preseason, so I got to watch the game film of Shaq in his very first game, and he had an outstanding game in that, and really kind of put his name out there after that game. And luckily, he was fortunate enough to make the team, and was activated, I believe, 3 games ago, and he stepped right in, didn't miss a beat, and had another outstanding game. So I'm real excited for him, and it's fun to watch him.
I've enjoyed the Canadian game. Of course, it's real football late in the summer. I'm not a big NFL preseason fan, and the Grey Cup game, when it's outdoors and snowing, is awesome.
Sure.
There's nothing better. But it seems like it's a little bit more wide open. That's a perfect game for Shaq and his style.
Yeah, there is a big difference in the style of game. It's built for athletes. There's more space, and whether it's a quarterback, running back, even up front, it lets those players that are maybe a little bit smaller and more athletic use that space and be successful.
And Dante Brown, a Canadian kicker on the team. Hopefully he can have a good career and have a chance to play up there, because I know they're always obviously looking for those that are Canadian. That'd be really cool. And I know he was highly rated in high school, so hopefully maybe he'll have a chance possibly down the road.
You hope all your players have that opportunity to continue on playing, so hopefully something like that will work out for them.
That's good to see Shaq, good to see Nathan in the NFL, and that's got to be be cool for you being a defensive coordinator and working with him every day to see his story and hopefully a long career for him.
Yeah, you're real proud of Nate and what he's done. And, all the credit goes to him. He is just one of those kids that came in and got the opportunity, and he ran with it, and I knew he was the type of player that would work hard if he was given that opportunity, and it's just kind of paid off for him.
How much you use that, player like that, a player like Shaq, when you're out recruiting and you're bringing players in, and those who are in the program, just as an example of, if you work hard at this level, 4 days in the MIAA, you're gonna get noticed. You got a chance, but you got to put in the work.
Sure, and it's great to have that example, and that's what Nate provides us. And when you're playing in the MIAA, you're playing at a very high level and very competitive football. And if you're a good enough football player, you're going to be seen, and scouts will find you, and teams will give you that opportunity.
All right, Cooper, we appreciate it. Good job filling in tonight for Coach. Have a great week of practice. Looking forward to Saturday night, and hopefully a good night for the Tigers against those Old Ichabods.
All right, thanks for having me.
There you go. That's Cooper Harris, the Tigers defensive coordinator. Again, we'll remind you it's a 7 o'clock kick Saturday night. Yeah, some Saturday football after a couple of Thursday games, and it kicks off at 7. The tailgating lots will be open at 4 o'clock. We'll be on the air with the Auto World pregame show at 6 o'clock. A reminder, you can always catch the video replay of Tiger Talk Tuesday and Wednesdays, 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on Eagle Cable Channel 14 and 614. You can always watch it online at HayesPost.com. Just hover over the Eagle TV icon up on the left corner, then click on Tiger Talk for the program. Tiger Talk is brought to you by Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, your craft beer authority. Old Chicago, north of the interstate in Hayes. Serious craft brews, seriously good food. Tiger Talk also brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors: the Hayes Med Orthopedic Clinic, Adams Brown, Barron and Ball, BTI, Valley Hope of Norton, The Taco Shop, Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, Horizon Appliance and Mattress, and Eagle Communications. Again, a big thank you to Cooper Harris and Jeff Bryant for filling in for Coach Brown. We'll talk to you again next Monday. Tiger Talk from Old Chicago on the Tiger Sports Network.